Now, November is marked across the world as National Disability Awareness Month, and this year's theme, proclaimed by the United Nations, is removing barriers to create an inclusive and accessible society for all. To speak about that and more, I'm joined via Skype by the founder of the Mandeville Disability Swimming Centre of Excellence, Paddy Slattery. Paddy, thank you so much for joining us. As a start, the name of your organisation is a Disability Swimming Centre of Excellence, but I understand that swimming is not the only focus of your organisation. Tell us what you do.
Well, it started really in the swimming sort of space, but as we grew and got more involved with the disability community, we founded a Disability Expo, which took place every year since 2012, where we'd get organisations that were keen to employ people with youngsters leaving school with disabilities and those matrics themselves. We'd get them all to write their CVs and put them in touch with each other. And that kind of grew to the extent that a company called Creative Space Media adopted us a couple of years ago and took it to a new level, where it now serves as a kind of a summit involving more than school leavers, entrepreneurs, university graduates, and that kind of thing as well. The whole... sorry?
Yeah. Now you've got what is called a work readiness program, and I think that's what you were telling us about there. Tell us about the kinds of things that you feel there's a need to focus on when you are preparing your students and young people who live with disabilities to prepare to send them out into the world and into the workspace.
A lot of them don't get the kind of the advantage of advice from the home front and that. And they're at a bit of a loss. So programs that explain to them issues like the number of points they have to get into the various faculties at university, the nature of the jobs that are available to them, how their whatever limitations they have can be kind of adapted to meet workplace requirements. That's all very important for them.
What has the response been like from the young people that you've worked with? Because obviously you'd work with them when they're fresh out of the various schools that they go to, some at special schools and some not. Have you been able to stay in contact with those who have successfully gone into the working world?
We lose touch with a lot of them, but some of them do, in fact, particularly the ones that are involved in sports as well as, making their way in the workplace or at university. We stay in touch with a lot of them. And a lot of them, I think, would recognize that the opportunities that they got at the Expo and at the work readiness days that we host have stood them in good stead going forward.
What is the role of businesses, the role of corporates, and even a government as a job giver or as an employer? Because surely, I'd like to think at this stage there is an understanding that the responsibility doesn't begin and end with putting a wheelchair ramp at the entrance of the building. It's so much more than that, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I think... and we're moving towards it in the more advanced government departments and the more advanced corporate employers and others as well. The smaller companies also play a big role. And that is to see not a disability, but to see a difference. And we're all different. Even those that are kind of fully able and that, we're not all the same. And a physical disability or hearing impairment or a vision impairment are just a difference, and they must learn, and they are learning, I think, those that get involved, to deal with those differences and to find the opportunities, find the abilities, and that, I think, would be the best way that they could behave.
Paddy, before I let you go, obviously there'd be people, perhaps family members of people living with disabilities who feel like their loved one could benefit from something like your work readiness program. And then, of course, those who are business owners who perhaps feel that they need to brush up on how they can make their workspace more welcoming for both employees and customers who live with disabilities. How can they get a hold of you if they do want to find out more and get more educated?
Okay, can I leave a telephone number?
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to find you on the internet. The Mandeville Disability Swimming Centre of Excellence, that's Paddy Slattery, doing some great work there, especially with regards to getting people ready to enter the workspace. And that, of course, a focus of November, a month that is marked across the world as National Disability Awareness Month. Removing barriers to create an inclusive and accessible society for all. That's the theme that's been proclaimed for this month by the United Nations.